Hello, everyone. Before I begin, by a show of hands, how many people are holding on to their phones? As I imagined, quite a few hands went up. I ask this today because it comes as no surprise we are living in an age where we constantly fall victim to our smartphones and technology as a whole. Technology is the reason why I stand before you today and explain how it tremendously impacted not only my academic career, but my outlook on what a real college education should be. As part of the 2014 graduating class of Brooklyn College, I have learned that a college education should consist of three essential components: self-authorship, time management, and integrity. A little bit about me is that I come from a Russian Jewish background, and in many cases, people view that to be what defines you. In my household, this was certainly not the case. I had been raised to associate background with not only level of education, but my profession. In a family that constantly pressured me about being a doctor or a lawyer, it was hard to disappoint the ones I loved. We have all been there, where we finally decide what we want to do with our lives, but are scared because it conflicts with our parents' vision for our futures. It is important that we as individuals remember it is I who is sitting in this chair. It is I who will make my college education be the most fulfilling experience it can possibly be. Of course, we can always further our education and oftentimes go back to school to earn more degrees. But if it is not you who ultimately makes that decision, the experience is not a fulfilling one. I went into my freshman year believing that because my parents are financially supporting me through my undergrad, I owe it to them to become a doctor. After taking a few bio classes and having a miserable experience in my freshman year, not only was my GPA affected, but emotionally, I was not happy with that decision. What saddened me most was that this decision wasn't made by me. I stand before you to remind you that regardless of where you go and what you do, self-authorship and making your own decision is something that must be done in order to gain a real college education. Now, I know some of you in this room have already either been accepted to a college, preparing for a college, or even uncertain about attending college. But my next point will touch on something everyone in this room should value. This is time management. It is important to be organized, and most importantly, be present. Much like many of you in the room, as a listener, I also fall victim to having 1,000 thoughts running in my head and not being fully present in the moment. It is important to remember that whatever you are working on, especially schoolwork, you must allocate time and put your fullest effort at one thing at a time. Having all these devices and this exposure to technology can be beneficial, but at the same time it can hurt us as well. Be in the moment when you are with your teachers, when you are talking. Contribute to the conversation. You get back the same amount as you put in. If we devote as much time to our work and academia as we do liking or aimlessly scrolling our news feeds, the outcome would be far more rewarding long term. My last point brings me to integrity. So what exactly is integrity? Well, integrity is synonymous with honesty, but more importantly, integrity is a consistency of actions and values. If you are not consistent in your performance, that is a reflection on you as an individual. It is even more critical when you get to college to understand this. Remember, you will be one of 1,000 names. The professor will receive a bunch of papers, but ultimately, if you give your best, you will be acknowledged for your hard work. Consistency can also be your downfall. See, if you're consistently late in handing in assignments or consistently pushing off studies for a party or social event, well, you will consistently receive a grade that reflects that work ethic. Always maintain integrity, never cheat, and bring honor to your name. The next time you hand in any work, remember that. Regardless of where everyone ends up this fall, I think we can all agree that completing college is a huge milestone. Each of you will build your own experiences and definitions of what makes a college education. But without building on the foundations of self-authorship, time management, and integrity, you as a student may make the mistake of falling into the trap of losing sight of your goals. And then think, well, what's the point? Don't ever lose sight. Everyone has their own path, and it is important to remember that no one definition of what makes a real college education will be the same. However, what I want everyone to take away from this is that you make it real, your decisions, your actions. It doesn't start with your parents or what they want. It's about what you want, and that is what I hope you attain from this speech. Thank you.